This week I took three trades which resulted in three losses, and the reason why is because GBP USD was just consolidating like crazy. Like I don't even understand what was going on. So the trades I took three trades. One was on Monday, one on Wednesday, and one on Thursday. The trade that I took on Monday was a loss, and that was my fault because I didn't get the direction correctly. And then the trade that I took on Wednesday, it was, I'll say, yeah, it was my fault, and it was also not my fault because GBP USD was just consolidating. It didn't move like I expected it to move, and then it was my fault because I didn't actually place my stop loss when I'm supposed to place it. And then for the final trade I took was just the market's fault. It wasn't my fault actually. So I'm going to go straight into the chart and show you the trades. Alright guys, so here's the GBP USD chart. This is the daily time frame, and as you can see, price is, let me just go down to the 1 hour charts. This is price action for this week. Just look at this. What kind of rubbish price action is this? Right? Let's look at this. This is Monday here, Tuesday, Wednesday, all trading inside this range. And then finally on Thursday, we finally broke out of that range, and Friday we retraced back. But let me just show you Euro USD so you can see the difference. Same week on Euro USD, but look at how clean it is, and it's reaching for where you would expect it to go. Unlike GBP that was just hanging in one range. So let me just get into the actual trades that I took. So this is Monday. As you can see, Monday was bullish, but I was taking sales, which is why I lost. And looking at it now in hindsight is because when we have this kind of range here, right, this is where we closed on Friday, and going into Monday, I was still looking for a sell because I'm thinking, oh, it's been dropping, we could keep dropping, right? And we are also, my daily bias was bearish, and I'm aiming for the sell side liquidity down here, but I made a mistake, which is not considering that we could retrace into this range. When we have a range like this, we should expect a retracement back to a premium price or PDRA, which is what it did before it started to drop. So let me just go down to the 5-minute time frame so I can show the trade that I took. So let's go back to Monday. Alright, so this is Monday, London session, this green area, which is when I usually trade. So since I was looking for a sell, I was looking for a sweep of liquidity at both highs, which is what we got here. And then we got this displacement and this fair value gap here, which is where I entered. And it moved a little bit. It moved about 10 pips before it reversed and went to my stop loss around here. So that was my mistake. I was trading against the direction, which was supposed to be bullish, and we know that if the week is going to be, for example, let's say the week is going to be bearish, we can expect that on Monday is going to be manipulation, because price has to first of all reach for buy side liquidity and also trade to premium of this price range that we created the previous week, Friday. So that was the first trade I took. That was a loss. And yeah, so going into, after that, I realized, okay, price was just reaching for this fair value gap around here. Go up to the 1 hour charts. So price had to retrace to this a small fair value gap here. As you can see, the bodies of the candles were respecting that fair value gap, and from there it started to drop. And if I draw a Fibonacci from this high to this low, this is 50%. As you can see, we came above 50%, which is premium of the range before it started to drop. So lesson learned, I now need to This means I need to consider what range we are in and anticipate retracements before we continue the main move. So that was Monday. Tuesday, I didn't trade. Why didn't I trade on Tuesday? I can't remember why I didn't trade on Tuesday. But Tuesday, I didn't trade. Go down to Tuesday. All right, so Tuesday, okay, yeah, we had the reason why I didn't trade on Tuesday is because I saw on the economic calendar that we had President Trump's speech and some other high impact news events on during the New York session. So I didn't trade in London session because I was thinking, as you can see, the price action was actually rubbish. So it was good that I didn't trade, but then I also there was a setup that played out, which is here. We had this liquidity sweep above this high and this high is here, and then market structure shifts, and then there's a small tiny fair value gap here. There's a tiny fair value gap right here, and obviously price came back to it and then started to just consolidate around that fair value gap before finally dropping. So I wasn't looking at the chart because of the President Trump speech. I also think Fed chair speech was also, so I just avoided trading today. That's why I missed this trade on Tuesday. So yeah, now I'm going into Wednesday, which was my next trade. On Wednesday, my trade was actually on the 1 hour time frame. So let me go up to the 1 hour chart and show you what I saw. So on Wednesday, which is here, what did I see? I saw my normal strategy, my model, which is the fair value gap. So I saw that this high here, let me shift this high has taken out this high. So it took out buy side liquidity above this high took out that high, and then displacement or market structure shift below this low and this low, and we had this fair value up here. So this is where I entered. As soon as this green candle came back into the fair value gap, that was my entry. But the reason why I lost this trade is because I didn't place my stop loss correctly. I'm supposed to place, according to my rule, my stop loss should be up here. This is where my stop loss should be, above this high, because this high has taken out this high and this high. So if we're actually bearish, it shouldn't come back there. But I was trying to manage my risk too much. The risk was too much on the trade, so I brought the stop loss down to above this green candle. And as you can see, this green candle just came up, went way past the fair value gap more than I expected it to go, and just went straight to that stop loss, hit it, and then the next candle just dropped. So yeah, this actually pissed me off because I was very sure about the trade, right? After taking the losses on Monday, it confirmed the direction that we're going, and we're going for these equal lows down here. I had equal lows, so this was a very short trade for me. Equal lows where sell side liquidity is. So if I take the sell here and leave it till it drops down here, but the market condition was just too much. And this same trade on Wednesday, if we look at it on Euro USD, that same Wednesday, the same trade showed up right here, the same fair value gap on Wednesday. But look at the way it moved. It was just clean. It didn't go above the fair value gap at all. It just stayed in there. The next candle started to drop and it just moved. So that's why I said it was kind of my fault, and also it wasn't my fault, because if market was moving normally, this is the kind of delivery that we would have seen on GBP USD. But it just overshot that fair value gap and went to my stop loss and then came down, consolidated into the next day before finally dropping to where my take profit would have been. So yeah, that would have been the trade that puts me in profit for the week, but I learned my lesson on that one. Even if market conditions were bad, if my stop loss was where it's supposed to be, which is up here, I wouldn't have gotten taken out of the trade. So yeah, and then finally going down to the 5 minute chart, my final trade was on Thursday. Final trade on Thursday, yeah. So going into Thursday, I still had those equal lows in my sight. Right, these are those equal lows. I was expecting price to still come down there. So look at Thursday. Isn't it obvious? Right? Isn't it obvious? We're already so close to those lows. Isn't it obvious that we had this sweep of liquidity above these highs and then displacement, and then we had this fair value gap? So when I see this, I'm obviously going to sell. I'm obviously going to sell because sell side liquidity is down here and market is heading down here, and we are bearish on the higher time frame. But it just did all this, and then boom, went to my stop loss that was up here. So that's why I say this week was just crazy. Like GBP USD was just messing up, and look what it did for the rest of the day. So that just sums up my trading week. Looking at this on, okay, this is Thursday, right, on GBP USD. If we go to Euro USD, the same Thursday, London session. Go to Thursday. London session, we had the same move here, liquidity sweep, and then it just kept on going down like it's supposed to. It just kept on going down. But GBP USD, I don't know where that long green candle just came out from. It just came out of nowhere. Look at this. So GBP USD was just highly manipulated this week. So yeah, currently my account is at 180k, so down from 184k. So we'll just have to go into this new week and see what happens. I'm expecting, I'm not really sure what to expect. This is the daily charts, and we could keep on going lower, but we'll see what happens by Monday or Tuesday. So that's it. Thanks for watching.